is not on his game. Cyberforce and New Repugnancy.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting, man. And we'd love to see how good Elazer CBZ looks. We know Dark's an absolute monster. Let's get into it.
All right, we are ready to get this going in this best of 5. Dark versus Elazer starts now.
4, 3, 2, 1. Round of 16, match 1.
All right, let's do this. In the upper left, in the blue, from Korea, he is
Gosu Crew, Dark.
And his opponent in the bottom right, in the red, from Poland, he is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
Alrighty, Tasteless. Well, I know that you guys already heard my giggle. It's so funny. I had breakfast this morning with Elazer, right? And I sit down and I want to pick their mind a little bit. I'm like, so, what do you think? He's going to be aggressive? And he's like, nah, I don't think so. And I'm like, what? Dark? You know, that's what he always does.
Yeah.
Doesn't Dark always do this against non-Korean Zergs? He just like tries to kill them basically with a 12-4 or a 13-12.
And oftentimes in game 1 he'll do that.
Yeah.
He'll just immediately initiate with an opener like that.
Oh, and he's going to try to sneak in maybe a spine as well.
He could actually, just on the edge of the creep, there's no vision here.
Oh, actually, but he's guessed.
Yep.
Is he pulling the drones as well? Oh my goodness, he's pulling the drones.
So again, actually poorly placed there just because the extractor finishes, and then he's able to spot that, so those drones are being pulled.
That's big.
Had he actually nudged that up a few hexes, it would have been a different story, but the drones are already out on the map now.
Yeah, but that was kind of a misclick, Tasteless. Those drones went a little too far north. I think at first he was really trying to hide this as well as possible, but then the spine crawler got scouted. So he's like, well, there's no point in hiding this anymore. This is technically a really good start for Elazer because that spine normally is the biggest problem, but he's not out of the woods just yet.
Yeah, it's the fact that the spine is finished and then the rest of those units can body block and get in the way, and that would have actually been in range of the spawning pool, which would put a clock here on Elazer. But now the drones are going to come in. 2 spines go ahead and go down. Actually, just 1. Here's the second one coming down now.
Yep, he's just going to buy a little bit of time. There's a lot of Zerglings on the way for the Polish Zerg. I mean, it would be amazing for Elazer to pick up a victory here in game 1. That would give him so much confidence. It really does feel that Elazer has the units, and I think he's handling this really well. He's buying so much time with his Zerglings.
And you can see the drones now in the links coming forward here. Elazer definitely with an advantage here as far as being able to spawn next to this attack. The spine crawler getting low, but I don't think this is going to finish in time.
I think this is GG already. I think Elazer has done it. Elazer actually takes the 1-0 lead here over the GSL champion. And he's like, you may have done this in the past against me, Tasteless. But he, too, has grown as a player. I mean, obviously, you can say tiny bit fortunate that he saw that spine the way he did.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was actually Dark's fault. I mean, that was a poorly placed location. You know, you don't start with vision there, but as the extractor is done, you're able to glance the edge of that spine crawler finishing up. We saw Elazer looking over to the side. They might have been smiling at Dark there.
Yep.
That was a mistake by Dark, and he is paying for it. And, you know, that's rough in a best of 5 where you're trying to really bring your very best in game 1. And, you know, part of game 1 in a best of 5 is even just being warmed up. But that was a humiliating defeat. And, of course, I'm not taking anything away from Elazer there. He handled that very well. Every decision from there was perfect, and he shut him down.
No, Elazer did everything that he had to do, but Dark definitely hurt himself a lot more than he should have. The spine obviously in a very risky spot, and it did get revealed, but then also the units were rallied via the top side of the map because he was really trying to avoid the Overlord, but his build was already revealed, so he lost a little bit of extra time there as well. And at that point, Elazer has one job, and one job only, and that's, let's not take a bad fight with my first 4-6 Zerglings. He didn't. He handled it perfectly.
Game 2 has loaded up. Dark versus Elazer continues on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the bottom right, in the blue, from Korea, he is
Gosu Crew, Dark.
And in the upper left, in the red, from Poland, he is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
Alrighty, Nick. Maybe you were onto something after all. Maybe this is going to be the series of
I'm from the future, man. By the way, Dark is not opening up with a quick pull at all. And Elazer is also going to open up with a quick hatchery. So we're going to have a very different tempo of a game here. from these two guys. No, at least for now, no all-in, no big rush.
Obviously, this is a pretty big map. In general, players like to macro up here a little bit more. It's very easy to get the 3-base economy going. And I think it has a lot to do with the way that Game 1 played out as well, right? If Dark just did his usual thing, where he gets a very quick 1-0, that's often where his opponents start getting a little bit intimidated. They start making more mistakes and errors, and they start playing overly safe, or actually they want to suddenly start being greedy. But this time, it didn't work out. And I think for just us as neutral spectators, it's really good that that didn't work. Otherwise, I was afraid that we're going to see a very one-sided 3-0 victory for Dark. And now suddenly I really feel like, all right, we've got a series on our hands, because Dark, you're going to have to work for it. You can't just pop this nerd in the way you used to do it.
I think especially because it's Dark, and because Dark was one of the players that was pretty blunt about where he thought the non-Koreans were. That's a really rough way to take the first game in a best of 5, especially when he's the team captain of GSL versus the world on the Korea side of things. So already a very cool start to our show.
Yep, in this very same studio, in the same tournament. I think he did similar builds against Nerdshow last year, or it was the year before. I don't even remember. It always goes so fast. There's so many games of StarCraft 2, but basically it was just aggression, and that's it. We had a couple of 3 or 4 minute games. Dark clearly trying to get the same pace going. This time it's not working, and like I said, for us neutral spectators, this is really the best thing we could have hoped for, because of course Dark is the favorite here. Of course Dark is the better player here, but we want to see a close and competitive series. And I think with the way that first game played out, we're going to get that.
Yeah, and I think Game 2 is going to be even more important to see what kind of shape Dark is, because when you look back at that Game 1, I think the idea was good, but the execution did not seem to be as practiced there. I mean, you basically never would want to put that spine there. So let's see what happens this time around. We do have Dark going for a Baneling's Nest.
Yep, and I think it's obviously worth mentioning that Elazer went very quick 3 bases here and actually delayed his gas. So he's got 0 gas income at all. That means there's going to be very late circling speed. There's going to be a very late defensive Baneling Nest. But, like I said before, on Thunderbird, there is only one way to enter the first 3 bases, and that's via this ramp at first. If you don't take away those minerals, that's a lot of Zerglings on the way for Dark. But I really feel Elazer, if you're doing a build like this, on a map like this greedy against an opponent that's that aggressive, he should have a way normally to deal with this, but he needs a wall off and he needs spine crawlers.
Okay, well, we're getting that wall off set up now.
Spine.
But he's going to need more than that. Now, this many Lings already coming forward, and Dark has not made a single drone since he started making Zerglings.
Elazer really has to stop building drones. Take a look at that production tab. It's super important that he starts getting a spine off and a full wall off, because he has nothing yet, Tasteless. He's got absolutely nothing.
Okay. We're getting the full wall in there. There's the Spore. I guess, to sandbag that out as much as possible. Anything to buy a little bit of time. Anything to get some extra queen hits on those Zerglings.
But I mean, the Banelings are going to be able to blow up that Spore Crawler, though. It's very important that he can re-wall behind it. This is going to be so close. I'm surprised that he didn't want to go for the spine. He's just waiting for that Roach Mark to finish up.
Okay, and as you can see, the Lings are beginning to come in. They have not actually completely breached through here. Is there actually enough, though, to continue to do damage on these queens?
I mean, it's taking a long time, right? The longer this takes, the better it is for Elazer. He's got a lot of roaches on the way. The queens are low. Really good transfusions there.
Oh, and actually, I got to say, this was really beautiful control overall here. In fact, one of those Banelings connecting with those 2 drones. The queens have been alive for a very long period of time, but finally, the Lings are going to be able to spill in as these roaches spawn out.
Yeah, but these Lings need to pick off a lot of drones, though, Tasteless. I'm talking at least 10 to 15, I think. It's going to try to re-wall there, but that was prevented at first. 6 drones going down. But I actually think Elazer is still sort of alright as long as he can prevent losing additional workers from this point on.
Yeah, that's the big question is how many workers are going to stay alive. You can trade armies into each other all you want. I mean, Dark was the one that made the economic sacrifice to make an attack like this happen as these Lings come in. A few more drones tilled up. We have 9 kills total, but I think Elazer is going to have to lose a little bit more drones for Dark to be comfortable with his position here.
Yeah, there is a lot of Lings still out on the map. The only thing is now for Elazer as well is that he's kind of stuck too, right? He's stuck on his 3 bases. Now, one thing that Elazer could potentially go for is maybe a Nidus attack on tier 2, because he knows that he has way more roaches out. It's just hard to get the roaches to the other side of the map unless you would go for one of those Nidus
I totally agree, as he's barricaded himself in here and is definitely afraid of Ling counterattacks, which start to do damage much more quickly than a big roach counterattack across the map. Now, that Ling did scout in there and see that there's a layer coming, so that may give him the suspicion of this being a possibility. We don't really know.
Yep, but I think this is one of those things where even if Dark knows, what can he really do about it? Unless he can just shut them down before they ever pop. But it's really hard to have vision everywhere. There is going to be a second carapace upgrade as well, though, for Elazer, so maybe he's just going to macro his way out of this. I think every decision that Elazer makes from here is good, as long as he keeps scouting and he knows that Dark is not going for, let's say, very quick mutas, which is a very big possibility as well, because I don't know how eager Dark is to play straight roaches from this point on, because, yeah, you know, he just has way less to work with.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about the situation as far as workers goes is they're even, but the army supplies are hugely different. I mean, Elazer has much more, and roaches, in the grand scheme of things, at least for this phase of the game, are pretty basically better units if it comes to a fight with the two sides.
It would make so much sense to me to see Dark build a Spire, yeah, there we go.
There it is. And I think this is a smart move because if he can come across the map and actually blindside Elazer and basically mute the utility of these roaches by actually killing off all the workers and also being able to control the map, that would be a great way for Dark to win this game.
Well, this scout is very important, Tasteless. Let's see if this Overseer of Elazer can see everything it needs
Where's
to
the
see.
Spire placed?
On the left bottom side of the mineral base here, on the left side of our screen.
Okay, good scout. Spire about halfway done.
So do you attack now? Do you Nidus? Do you just macro your way out of this? I don't know if you really want to play like a super long ZVZ against Dark. Like, I think Elazer is strong enough to survive until the mid game. Look at how the amount of roaches that were just produced. I think Elazer is going to go for it. He's just going to rally everything to the other side of the map.
And we actually have 6 spine crawlers coming down here now. I'm really making me wonder about that Nidus, if that would have just been a better decision to try to come in at that moment. But instead, Elazer's going to be taking a 4th base and sending roaches of his across the map.
Yeah, I mean, he does have 68 drones already, so obviously it doesn't hurt Elazer's economy. Okay, he is mining out these units or these mineral patches rather in the middle of the map, so he's really gonna go for it. It would be so cool if he had like 2 more drones on the left side mining out those minerals as well near Dark Space. We see tunneling claws, but 11 mutas out already, or at least 11 mutas on the way. Can you boss this? I mean, that's a lot of roaches, but that's a lot of spine crawlers as well, Tasteless.
Yeah, this bottlenecked area seems to be almost impossible to ever break into. In fact, that would really be the dream there for Dark, for Elazer to try to push through there. So these roaches are going to return home now. Even though Elazer is going to have an additional base, we don't know how much damage he's going to take from these mutalisks yet. That's the big question.
Yeah, he had plenty of time to prepare for it, and the one good thing that Elazer did accomplish, I want to say, with this roach move out, is that he forced out 7 spine crawlers, right? And that means that obviously Dark's economy is truly hurting. Dark getting a cancel on this port base would be massive, though. Oh no, Elazer, that was not supposed to happen. That's not even a cancel, that's a straight up kill.
Yeah. I have to say, I think we're seeing why Dark is considered a better player in a longer ZVZ, and I know this isn't exactly the longest ZVZ we've seen. It's a pretty short one so far, but he's definitely got himself into a better decision into the mid-game here. As there's now no 4th base for Elazer, and Dark has map control with these mutas. You can both harass and kill workers, or you can go out and try to attack roaches that are going to be on the middle of the map. So Elazer's really been painted into a corner here.
Yeah, but it's really funny, right? Because Elazer has been up 30-40 supply, so a lot of people might be confused. It's like, why are we praising Dark so much? What's so good about Dark's position? It's not necessarily that it's that great right now. We just know how good Dark is, and we know that it's going to be great 2-3 minutes from now, because Elazer is stuck with all these units, and I just don't think he can do much with it.
Yeah, and it's not hard to imagine that Dark is going to be able to maneuver this game pretty cleanly to a victory, but I do like the idea of the Brood Roaches coming out here. And actually, he's going to try to come in here and maybe get a denial, taking out a few of these drones. If he could get that hatchery, that would be pretty huge.
Yeah, but he would lose a lot of roaches in the process, so I don't actually mind Elazer not going for it. Elazer is also just bringing the mutas back home, right, which allows him to get some anti-air out. Like, I don't hate what Elazer is doing, but that moment that maybe looked like a minor moment, it was like, oh, 4th base, Lynx surrounded, Lynx get a cancel or a kill, actually it was. It's like, oh, that's nice for Dark. No, that actually changes everything, because if Elazer would have just had that 4-base setup with the economy that he had, I actually think Elazer would have been totally fine in this game, but losing that hatch was massive.
We have more and more Hydras coming out. Now, the Hydras can pretty directly address the Mutalisks if it comes down to a straight-up fight. But again, with Mutas, you can always just try to attack somewhere else where the Hydras are not. But it does appear that Elazer is going to try to bank up for a big battering ram attack that's going to come across the map down towards the bottom right, while Dark is still continuing to mass up a lot of Lings and a lot of Mutas.
I actually really like what Elazer is doing with these minor roach hit squads, though. He's getting a couple of drone kills here and there, still hurting in the Dark's economy a little bit, because 66 drones is not the dream if you want to be a 4-base Zerg. So I actually like a lot of things that Elazer is doing, and yes, Elazer maybe eventually wants to attack, but he's also getting a hive, Tasteless. He's going to be able to get lurkers out a lot quicker. He already has the lurker then, and don't forget about I won't say Infestors. Well, Infestors would be good, but I was thinking about the Vipers, actually. 1 or 2 parasitic bombs on all those mutas, and hey, what are you going to do with all those Mutalisks?
Yeah, that's a very good way to completely punish somebody who's invested this much into Mutalisks. I mean, that's a really a serious death ball that's moving across the map.
This is the most interesting moment. Can the Mudas actually pick up these queens?
Oh!
2 queens go down immediately. 3, 4 queens maybe. Okay, this is actually a painful moment, right? Because I don't think the Hydra count is that high yet. This would be the ideal moment for Dark to apply even more pressure. Well, he has no baning speed.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's awkward to see this late in the game. But you can see what Dark is also trying to do is just spread out onto the map as much as possible. Since there's not enough Hydras to attack across the map just yet, that Baneling attack did not work out. The Lurkers were there to shut that down pretty easily.
But I'm starting to get really worried here, though. Where is the end here? I mean, a couple of Mutas... Actually, I think the Mutas can fight those Hydras.
Yeah,
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah, this is almost, I think it's more Mutas than Hydras at this point in time. So this is a very easy fight. And I feel like Elazer, a player that had an advantage in the first third of this game, has now really given up any opportunities for a realistic comeback if he keeps playing the way he is and Darkus is playing as well as Dark is.
I mean, the timing there by Dark was absolutely perfect. I kind of like this counterattack by Elazer because he needs to buy some time, but he's losing more and more expensive units. That's his only Viper, by the way. That's going to get picked off before a single Parasitic Bomb is casted. And GG, Dark was down in supply almost the entirety of this game, and he still took it.
You know, Roddy, Game 1 was really exciting because Dark screwed up his rush and Elazer punished it, but I think Game 2 is a real reality check for the difference between these two players. Elazer had, I think, a pretty good start. He denied the Baneling attack. I think only lost about 10 drones, but then wasn't able, with all of the advantages he had, to navigate that to a victory. And now I'm curious to see what Elazer's going to do in Game 3.
Yeah, to me it really felt that Elazer wasn't 100% sure. Does he want to end the game with his roaches? Does he want to all in? Or does he want to macro? And in the end he did a little bit of both. I still think that if he keeps that fort base alive, we're casting a completely different game. And it's not just that it happened, but it was so unnecessary, Tasteless, because he had so many freaking roaches. Those Lings were never supposed to get a cancel on that fort.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, we're casting a completely different game, because Elazer wasn't just ahead, I think he was really far ahead.
Yeah. We are actually ready to jump into Game 3. Tied up 1-1. Dark versus Elazer continues on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Our player in the bottom right in the blue from Korea, he is
Gosu Crew, Dark.
And his opponent in the upper left in the red from Poland, he is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
I mean, there were definitely a lot of things to talk about on Thunderbird. I think even having all those queens where they were, Elazer saw how high the Muda count was. If all of those queens are backed up by just a single Spore Crawler, the Mudas actually can take a fight like that. You know, the Spore pushes out so much damage, it changes everything. Elazer didn't lose that game at one particular moment, but he made 3 or 4 big mistakes that allowed Dark to come back into that game. And I honestly think for a pro gamer, those are the toughest defeats. You know, if they just have a regular game, you know, you make roaches, I make roaches, and eventually Dark played a little bit better, or he had a hit squad that did enough damage. It's all right, I can shake it off, you know. He took one, I'm gonna try to take the next one. But when you're 1-0 up in a best of 5, and you have such a good spot in the second game, and you kind of throw it away yourself, mentally, I think those are the toughest games to swallow.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Roddy. I think that it really is a scary reality check when you have that experience. You go, oh, okay, this guy really does seem to be pretty crafty in any situation.
Because you start asking yourself, if I can't win those games, what kind of games am I going to win, right? Because it's really hard, obviously, to win a ZVZ against Dark. You know, like I said, I had a little chat with Elazer this morning, and he said that he didn't expect Dark to be aggressive. Well, so far, I think in both games, Dark was very aggressive, even though the second game it was a little bit later, but that was still a very aggressive opening. I was kind of shocked to hear that, because Dark, to me, always seems to be the aggressive Zerg out there.
I agree.
But I really like what Elazer said, right? Because you know the Europeans, and they're very, very confident in their ZVZ, and they often even mock Korean ZVZ a little bit, because that's how confident they are. He's but on the other end, it's still Dark, and he's even if I don't like his strategies, his execution is so freaking good that I'm obviously worried, because you don't know how good they are until you play against them, and then suddenly, because they are so good, you cannot execute your own build anymore. And I think that's kind of a beautiful dynamic of StarCraft 2.
Well, one thing about Dark is he's pretty comfortable in any given situation. I mean, he's actually one of the best macro conservative Zergs on the planet. We just see him oftentimes open up for aggression to kind of get control of the matchup early on. By the way, once again, we do have a Baneling's Nest coming down here, but it's a Baneling's Nest on both sides.
Yep. I mean, obviously, Elazer is doing a different opening here because King's Cove, there's so many ways to attack here.
Yeah, two entrances here.
Yep. Can't really stay gastless, right? That'd be a bit crazy. So far, this is all the same. Now, the kind of aggression that I think is quite common for Dark as well is indeed around 26, 27 rounds. Make a bunch of Zerglings. I don't know if he's going to stop or not, but Dark is so confident in his ability to just outplay these European Zergs that it's like, I just make nothing but Lings and Banes. Is this supposed to work? No, if it gets scouted, it's not supposed to work. But his execution, Nick, it's so good. Elazer needs to pick up on this right here, right now. He needs to start making defensive Banes. That's what he does. And if I was Elazer, I would make no more drones from this point on. Focus on defending.
I think you're absolutely right. Again, on this map, two different points of entry here. And so this threat is going to come in here immediately over to where this hatchery is. Now, it's very important that Elazer's Banelings connect with as many Zerglings as possible.
Yep, he already has a couple of Banelings here. Don't forget about the Banes that could potentially run into the natural. I mean, Dark always has multiple goals. That's not the way that Elazer wants to start this, but that's not the end of the world yet because he still has his defensive Banelings.
Okay, we have that one last Baneling, about one Queen shot away from being picked off. The Queens are going to try to push forward here and terminate these Banes. Meanwhile, another attack coming around here in the other side. These Banelings headed towards these drones.
Yep, a lot of these drones seem very vulnerable. Dark is doing a really good job in avoiding the Banelings of Elazer. The amount of lost mining time here is already very big, but Elazer did a good job in saving the majority of his drones, but he can't afford to lose that hatchery tasteless.
As you can see, this hatchery is taking a lot of damage up here. It's at about 1/5 health. These Banelings on the side, still ready to be used. He's going to turn around to the top. The Banelings are going to come in, and it's so low, and it will go down.
Oh my goodness, that final Baneling, was it the splash damage there?
It might have been.
That's ridiculous.
So crazy.
I mean, this now obviously is worth it for Dark in the end, right? Even gets a few more Lings there. Still has more Zerglings and Banelings out on the map. This is so funny. I think this is exactly what Elazer was talking about. He's not supposed to lose against builds like this, but once you go up against Dark, he's so fast, he's so good, his micro is so on point that he forces you to make mistakes.
And you can see Elazer's beginning to get pushed back further and further here. Again, losing that hatchery, that's also one production facility that you don't have. So the Lings from Dark are continuing to press forward, and now Dark has actually shifted gears. He's made a ton of drones behind this while he's continuing to put pressure over here at the natural of Elazer.
Yeah, Elazer definitely still in this. I mean, it's been painful. Losing that base is always a very, very big deal, but he did have the economic advantage for the majority of this game so far, so he kept the Queens alive. Elazer is still... Oh, you gotta stop doing that, though.
Ouch. Connecting over there. Again, that Queen also getting very low. I feel like there's actually a chance that even though Dark is making almost entirely drones, that Dark could still come in here and pierce this third base once again, denying it from finishing.
Yeah, that's going to be quite difficult against the 4 Banes of Elazer there, but Dark is completely okay with this because he's now economically ahead, and Elazer doesn't even really know what's going on. I think at this point, Elazer is so tasked in defending that he doesn't know how big the economy is of Dark. Like, Elazer is hoping, Dark, are you still at like 28, 32 drones? No, he's at 50 because he's freaking Dark, okay?
And
that's when you know you're in trouble.
This is Dark with an actual advantage over here, and now these 2 Queens are going to go down. Transfuses come in. Nice, good save there on those 2 Queens. Again, this is the first game we see with Dark has a massive lead.
Yep.
Okay, we saw him lose with a failed all-in, and then we saw him recover with a pretty good defense there from Elazer. But this time around, it's going to be hard for me to imagine a series where Elazer comes out with a victory here.
The crowd loved that one. A lot of Banelings going down on either side. But I'm with you, Nick. I mean, you think back of how Thunderbird played out, and it's like, well, since Dark won that game, our game is going to play out where he's like basically has attack advantage, he's got an economy advantage, had an army advantage just right before he lost a couple of Banelings here and there. It's going to be very, very tough for Elazer, but I mean, Elazer is somebody from the European scene who plays an insane amount of ZVZ, and there are definitely ways to still come back in this matchup, but he's going to have to play his heart out.
Yeah, he really can't make any more mistakes from here. Again, Dark doing a very good job. Filtrating Lings in there one by one to confirm what exactly is going on.
Elazer is actually going to all-in this game. I don't know if it's a Roach speed all-in or a Nidus or maybe both, right? He might just run Roaches to the other side of the map. And that's maybe the only way that he can win. Because you look at the armies right now. Elazer's army is actually very big. No, Elazer goes back to droning. Why would he do that?
I'm not sure. I feel like he might be trying to do too much of a balancing act here because, yeah, he was already so behind there. Elazer's going to try to come out now, but Dark at the same time is also growing. So if Elazer's making drones, where Dark already had more drones, and then Dark's also making another hatchery, I don't see any avenue for Elazer to somehow get ahead.
Yeah, at least Elazer's move out kind of scared Dark here, so Dark was forced to cancel his fourth base, but Dark has been economically ahead for quite some time. Elazer needed to get something done with the army advantage he had. He still kind of has it, but now he's fighting on the other side of the map, and now the first roaches are out. A little bit of a move command there by Dark. Still one bailing in the mix, but I really don't like this anymore for Elazer. I feel like if you make that many units, you gotta go for it.
Yeah, you can't be wishy-washy in situations like this, and I think that's a little bit of what we're seeing here. Now, it is Dark pushed back onto 3 bases, so he's not going to get that 4th hatchery up. Elazer is taking a 4th hatchery of his own. Maybe he can try to step-by-step navigate this into a lead. But as Elazer's only just now catching up to Dark, we're also seeing that Dark's army is now bigger, and I'm wondering what a possible counterattack would look like here for if Dark were to simply try to push out and basically do the same thing to Elazer that Elazer did to him.
Yeah, Dark does have a Spire on the way as well though, right? I mean, there often are Spires that they don't use immediately. It's just more like, alright, I'm gonna see if I can make something happen with the roaches. Do you have anti-air? No, you don't. Well, if I then have money in the bank, I can suddenly start making mutas. Obviously, these Lings are not getting an counter on the 4th base this time, so Elazer has definitely slowly but steady crawled his way back into this game. I think things look pretty rough at a certain point, but that move out and getting a cancel on the 4th base of Dark was, in the end, totally worth it.
Okay, here comes the Roach Ravager moving forward.
There's a lot of money in the bank for Dark. I think he's trying to buy some time for the mutas. Good job there by Elazer in sniping 1 or 2 of those Overlords.
Yeah, these are basically for free right now.
But it's actually kind of nice for Dark, because Dark just wants time to go by, because he wants mutas to get out.
Very true, yeah. He just wants to buy a little bit more time, but now this attack's going to come in here. This is 100% going to get canceled.
That's big, though. That's the 2nd one, and that means that Dark is now still on 3 bases. What a fun little ZVZ series do we got so far. I feel like none of these games have truly made a lot of sense up to this point, but yeah, Elazer is now absolutely back in this. Sure, the muta count is going to be high, but the first Hydras are already on the way as well.
Yeah, whereas in the other game, the Hydras were not quite out in large amounts to where they could ever really address those Mutalisks. And this was a lot of gas banked up here for Dark. I mean, he's still able to make 7 more mutas right now if he wants to. And I guess that being said, though, is the 4th base basically secure here? I mean, it would have to be Muta Harass that would win, not Mutas just stamping out that 4th.
Yeah, Elazer should have a couple of spores at home. He's building 3 spore crawlers right now, as we can see on the production tab. I really don't mind it that much anymore. Now, we know how good Dark is with his mutas, so this doesn't mean that Elazer is going to run away with this game, but technically, Elazer is working towards a stronger army comp as well, right? With the Hydras already out, he's got a couple of Ravages on the field, getting the Lurker then. Technically, everything is starting to look pretty damn decent for Elazer. He even has an upgrade advantage, and his carapace is almost finishing up as well. So Dark has got some work to do again with his mutas and banelings, apparently.
Here we go. He's about to activate. We got a lot of banelings coming down right now. One changing for Elazer, so he's going to know exactly what's coming for him here.
I mean, I wonder if he's going to wait for +2 missile attacks. Then again, then you
I
kind
don't
of...
know. I feel like that might be too late, but we'll see. He's about to show us. The banelings are coming up. We have a lot of spines that are on the way, but they're not going to be finished, I believe, before this attack actually starts, as Dark is moving in right now.
Yeah, these Banes need to connect with the Spore Crawlers as well. I think that's very important. Dark can be indecisive, though. You gotta go. Couple of mutas actually fighting these Hydras on the top side. Can we take a look at the Banelings? Dark is kind of like trying to trap Elazer here, and Elazer, is he taking the bait?
You can see the Banelings finally beginning to come forward here. They're trying to connect with those Hydras. Now moving down over towards that Ravage with the mutas and the Roaches coming in.
Yeah, those Baneling connects were actually really good there in the end. I think that Dark did kind of shibait Elazer there into a fight that Elazer really shouldn't have taken. Elazer was 2 upgrades ahead, but he couldn't win the battle.
Yeah, that was beautifully executed there by Dark, as Dark's army is now flooding into the 4th base area. Still so many mutas that are a threat in this game, and that may be just too much here. We have some more Roaches coming down, but we know that there are more Roaches headed northbound here to merge up with Dark's army here. And with the mutas also hitting these Roaches that are chasing this army away, I just still don't think this can end well for Elazer.
Those mutas are so annoying, right? They push out so much damage on these Roaches, and there's just nothing firing back. Now a few more Hydras get produced, but Hydras are expensive. Elazer lost a lot of drones in the process as well. He still has 1 upgrade advantage, but doesn't really have any static defenses to fall back to. One of the Queens get picked up as well.
Yeah, by Biles, in fact. Dark with a maxed out army is beginning to thin out the small defenses that Elazer has, as we're seeing Roaches desperately get microed back as Mutas are dishing out too much damage air to ground. And I don't see how the fourth base is going to survive this. It seems like an inevitable tug of war that Dark is going to win.
Yep, I don't think anything is going to survive here for Elazer in the end. This was a really interesting one, and once again, I think a game where Elazer absolutely had opportunity.
GG.
But in the end, it's Dark who's just a little too good. And this gotta feel like a pretty frustrating series so far for Elazer, because it's actually not too crazy of a statement to say that he could have won all 3 games.
Yeah. So what started out with an exciting, good result here for Elazer, reality is really starting to kick in now. Dark is showing that he is a monster. He can take risks as long as it's not that sunken colony risk in game 1, spine colony risk, in game 1. He can take risks. If they don't work, he can morph the game into an advantage somehow, some way. And Elazer looking concerned. He has to win every game from here on out, or he's out of GSL versus the world.
Yep. And I mean, once again, it's just been a pretty bizarre best of 5 so far. We're gonna head over to a very quick break, and after that, we'll be back with game 4.
Dark, can I be where you are? You were gone from the start, now you tear me apart. Ooh. I gave you my trust, but you treated me like I couldn't see. I thought you were the one, but I know that I'll never be the girl that you need. Do I feel the same? You were at the back of her mind. Suddenly the rain has wiped away the dust from my eyes. I'm alone in the dark, can I be where you are?
2019 GSL versus the world.
Hell yes, welcome back. GSL versus the world continues on. Right now it is Dark with a 2-1 lead over Elazer. Now, Elazer did win game 1, shutting down Dark's all in, but anything that seems to resemble a more standard Zerg versus Zerg, whether Dark takes the lead at the start or not, Dark ends up crushing it more and more with every passing minute.
Yeah, it especially seems in the big fights, right? Like, I look at that final fight as well, and I like Elazer's defensive setup at first, and it seems like Dark was very worried about it. He's like, no, I'm not running into this, I'm not running into this, and then Elazer's like, well, I'm gonna run into you, and Dark is like, thank you very much. Like, that's exactly what I want with my 45 Banelings. There was a lot of hope there for Elazer. He was 2 upgrades ahead, Tasteless.
Brutal, man. We are now going to go into game 4. Dark versus Elazer on Cyber Forest starts now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the upper left, in the blue, from Korea, he is
Gosu Crew, Dark.
All right, watch this, Brody. I'm going to show you the intro.
All right.
In the bottom right, in the red, from Poland, he is Lego, my...
Ego Esports, Elazer.
I had to try.
I like the Alive one better, Nick.
The
sorry.
live one is just never going to be topped. All of esports was leading up to that moment.
So Cyber Forest is of course the smallest map that we have in this map pool of StarCraft 2. I actually really like the approach of Elazer to go for the bigger maps at first, because I understand being worried about the aggression of Dark. And I think back of that opening as well, right? Like, that is not an opening that Elazer is uncomfortable with. Like, 27 drones, and then the Zerg makes a lot of links and bangs. Is that supposed to get a hatchery kill? No, absolutely not. But that's just Dark truly being Dark. And that's just where his execution is so incredibly good. And it's really hard to put it in words or to focus on one specific thing. Like, what is Dark doing so well that allows Elazer to make, or that forces Elazer to make this many mistakes? And it's just the Ling movement, the Bangling movement. It's like, it's kind of like a boxer, right? That's just feinting a lot. And at one point, you don't even know which hits are going to be real anymore. And that's kind of what's happening in those early stages of ZVZ. Dark is just so good in running around, keeping his units alive, and then eventually he will find an opening.
Would you say that there is, I mean, I think we can both agree there's an error in decision-making on Elazer's part when you get into like mid-game and late game, but would you say that there is an error in opening play here from Elazer? Should he really not, should he be trying to play around anything ordinary? Because in every game, Elazer is just the guy who's been reacting to what Dark's doing. Dark, the game starts up and Dark just does his strategy, and then we see if Elazer lives through it or not.
Well, strategy-wise, I actually like the builds of Elazer a lot more than I like the builds of Dark. It's just that Dark seems to be the better player, which is obviously something we were aware of. But sometimes a better strategy can actually carry you very far. So I don't mind the openings of Elazer, because I don't think that Elazer should try to start outplaying Dark in like the Ling Bane phase and stuff, because that just doesn't go very well in general for non-Korean Zergs, unless your name is Cyril perhaps. But Faceless, maybe he's listening. He's going to switch things up. Look at that Roach Warren.
This is what I was actually hoping, or at least not necessarily this exact strategy, but this idea, right? Taking the initiative. One of the things about Dark, and one of the reasons why we see him, especially in ZVZ, open up aggressively in Game 1 is because it makes the other player respond to what he's doing. He has to actually react here. In this game, Elazer's going to push out immediately with these roaches. Okay, I actually thought he wasn't going to get it for a second. But the Rock would block the Queen for a second there. He gets that first Overlord.
Yeah, that's massive, right? Because it also denies information, of course. But I also feel like it's sometimes a tell. You're playing on Cyber Forest, it's a tiny map, and suddenly 2 Queens come out to push away an Overlord. It's like, well, I wonder, you know, are you going to try to attack me? It seems that Dark is expecting something among these lines, because that's 18 Zerglings already on the way. And obviously the Lynx, they can start surrounding roaches one by one, and they can also counterattack and potentially deal a lot of damage. So Elazer is going to have to be very careful, but so far Dark is actually in the
Lego.
Dark, damn it!
Sorry. No, look, we're gonna have to see. I thought I had another shot. I thought you were setting me up for something. I didn't know. We have the Roaches coming forward now. Now we want to watch for this Ling counterattack, because the Lings are going to deal damage faster than the Roaches are going to in their counterattack. And so we have these drones on hold position here as these Queens are going to get surrounded here. And now the Roaches are going to come in. Now, Dark needs to use everything at his disposal to try to hang on, because there's a lot of muscle here with these Roaches. The Queens are just trying to buy time, rotating around the hatchery.
I mean, Dark has already done a lot of damage, way more than Elazer, but Elazer does still have a lot of roaches. I mean, that's a force that's very hard to clean up, especially if the roaches are in the choke point, like they are here on the ramp. But Elazer's gonna be careful. He needs to do way more damage than he's done so far, but I really like what he's doing there. He's zoning Dark out of his own base.
Yeah, he's actually locked him out, and of course, with Surface Area being the most important thing to watch for in Roach versus Zergling, the fact that these Zerglings are not getting good surrounds here means the Roaches are getting premium damage off, and that forces Dark to use some of his drones to try to help defend.
That was actually so sick by Elazer. He handled that so incredibly well.
Good.
The roaches are starting to run very low on HP, but there is more where that came from. There are more roaches out on the map somewhere, and look at the worker count.
Oh, wow.
Elazer is up 6 workers, and he's about to kill way more drones. Dark is in a ton of trouble.
And this might be an area here by Dark to try to actually salvage this location down here. These Lynx, not enough of them to actually try to fight these roaches at all. He's going to come down here and pounce on top of the Spark Crawler. It does not look like a Transfuse is going to allow him to last in this for very much longer, and this is going to allow Elazer to immediately barrel into the main and kill the workers. GG, Elazer takes game 4.
Well, Tasteless, he listened to you. He took some of that initiative. You can see, I love his reactions after he takes a map. Very happy with that. Obviously, very stressful situation there, but I absolutely love the way he kept his roaches together. He knew that those roaches had to do a ton of damage, and he's like, well, I want to get on top of the drones, but I also need to keep them safe. I don't want to get surrounded. So he zoned up like 4 roaches, and that was already enough to put on so much pressure that it forced Dark to take a very bad fight on that ramp. I loved it. That was very well done by Elazer.
And we saw Dark in an attempt to catch up. He scrambled to get down onto the his natural and try to get cover there, and that made it even easier for Elazer to come in there with the killing blow. And so now we go to the final deciding match. We're tied up 2-2. The winner of this will move on to the round of 8 in the GSL versus the world.
Final map is going to be played on New Repugnancy. A medium-sized map, I'd say. I think an excellent one to end things on. I mean, Dark's going to be feeling it a little bit, right? It's been, I think, a weird series for both of them, but it's always frustrating to lose against girls like that.
We now hop into Game 5. The winner moves on to the round of 8. The loser is out of the GSL versus the world.
4, 3, 2, 1.
0. In the upper right, in the blue, from Korea, he is
Gosu Crew, Dark.
And in the bottom left, in the red, from Poland, he is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
I think score-wise, Elazer can already be very satisfied with his performance here. I mean, there have been a lot of people that have been 3-0'd in the past by Dark. Elazer one of them as well. So I think you can already be very happy, right, taking 2 maps. But with the way that this best of 5 has been playing, Elazer might very well feel, it's like, if I'm ever going to beat this guy in a best of 5 again, this could very well be the day, because there were chances in every single game for Elazer.
so great to have so many of you guys down here in the studio. We got a lot of people traveling in all over the world to see these games. So if you're down here in the studio, welcome. You're in for a real treat today. Now, let's also point out that, okay, so they both won 2 games, but the way that Dark won, I think, not to take anything from it, was just more of a standard, more impressive, more, okay, this is what Starcraft looks like.
Of course.
A play, whereas Elazer denied one insane all-in and then did another crazy insane all-in in Game 2. But what do we get in Game 3? I mean, at this point in time, whatever is going to win for Elazer, I think he has to do. And I think it's very much so up to Dark to try to get a read on what that might be.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, New Repugnancy is a map that has a lot of attack paths. Obviously, there is a lot of playability with fast-moving units, roaches, hit squads. I mean, obviously, link counterattacks can be very dangerous, especially once the players are set up on 3 bases. I don't know, like, I still think that Elazer has what it takes to hang with Dark, even though Dark, I totally agree with you, clearly did look better in the 2 slightly longer games, because those 2 games, I mean, especially Thunderbird, I think was a game that Elazer shouldn't have lost. But even on King's Cove, there was a little bit of potential. But hey, maybe the 3rd time is the charm when it comes to regular, normal games. I mean, Dark is very strong mentally, but he's got to be feeling this right now. Like, he's the reigning GSL champion. He doesn't want to go out in the round of 16.
Yeah, and you know, it's a little bit scary. I know that he might be a little bit more proud of his wins versus, you know, Elazer with his wins, but it doesn't matter, man.
Nope.
This is why we have a best of 5, is because the players can adjust and try to take different approaches and win in different ways. Now, in this game, one thing that is important to note on this map is that it's not easy to defend both your natural and the 3rd, and you can always have something run into your main and do damage. So we have Baneling nests coming down on both sides, and Ling Speed coming down on both sides. We do have, and this has been thematic with these 2 planes so far today, Ling's being made more immediately from Dark, where once again, Elazer has kind of gone back to what we saw in both Game 2 and in Game 3, and is making drones again. So it seems like offense is going to be coming here from Dark.
Yeah, Dark is even building them a little bit faster than he did on King's Cove. This is a smaller map as well. Elazer needs to stop building drones right here, right now. Needs to start working on his defensive paintings. That's a very good scout though for Elazer. It's very important that he picks up on this as quickly as possible. I mean, I get it from Dark. He's like, on King's Cove it shouldn't have worked, but I just clearly made it work because I'm better. I'm going to try to do the same thing again. But it's risky though, because eventually Elazer is going to have his defense in the right place. And if this doesn't work out, Elazer is in a phenomenal position.
Okay, hold on. Dark over here, attacking the 3rd base. We have some of the Lings and Banelings coming up north towards that 3rd base. Meanwhile, 2 baits heading towards the workers.
Yeah, the drones are being pulled. Good job there. I mean, one Baneling can actually not kill these drones. That's a lot of damage, but everything is still alive. How's that hatchery doing, though? The hatchery is still alive as well. I mean, it all looks explosive and flashy, but I actually think that was decent defense by Elazer. As long as he keeps those drones alive, that's the most important thing right now.
He can't lose drones. He can't lose the hatch. Damaging a unit or a building is never going to be enough, and so now we're going to see Dark try to do everything in his power to come in here with a closer. We have 2 more Banelings headed up over here, and it looks like they might not have him able to defend in time.
He needs to kill it as well. Yeah, a lot of drones are still very low on HP. More Banelings coming as well. I think Elazer is panicking here a little bit.
Oh! Baneling trying to get these last 2 drones in the corner, and they do go down. I mean, and that was all the workers at that second base.
Yep, but Elazer is still only 3 workers behind. And he's got 2 Zerglings in the main base of Dark as well. But Dark is going for this hatchery. Dark is going to get this hatchery once again. Dark gets the damage he's looking for. Elazer needs to get a massive connection with his 1 trump card. The ace up his sleeve, the 2 Banelings in the main base of Dark.
Okay, here we go. The Banelings are coming forward. We don't know if Dark sees it, and they go off.
That's a lot of workers going down now. Elazer is down a base, but up 10 workers, Tasteless. What are we watching? The Queens are very far out of position, though. The Banelings are here to keep those Zerglings safe as well. But I think Elazer's defense is all right. Yeah, that looks all right.
We've seen Elazer collapse back onto 2 bases. Where does he want this game to go for now? I mean, 22 workers to 28. But Dark on 3 hatches, Elazer on 2. He just wants to counterattack.
Yeah, I mean, he's slightly up in workers, but obviously he's down a base, right? So he's going to be down in production. And also all of his queens were out there defending, so they probably weren't really hitting the injects. I don't know, man. I think you could really see that the nerve. Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I was going with the nerves already, but defending as well, right? Like, Elazer is a very, very good Zerg player. Normally, if he sees 2 Banelings, it's pop-up ling, and he's done. And this time, you could really see there was some hesitation. That shouldn't be the case. I think he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, this is a scary moment here. Getting that denial with those Banelings and really shutting down the momentum there that Elazer might have had. The Queens now are going to try to take out this Overlord, which might have been a little bit too far out. That's going to darken the map a little bit. But Dark is... he beat me to it. I was going to say he's going to set up a counterattack to try to hit this location, but now those Banes have been picked off. And 3 Links might be able to do a little bit, but maybe not enough to be truly impactful in this game. He's going to, try to make 2 Banes down here then?
But that should never work.
Yeah, that's just like...
That was the most obvious run by of all
I hope
time.
he didn't see this strat.
But, hey, Elazer's going to try to do the same thing
and
one
he's
more
like,
time.
I hope you didn't see this.
Well, I mean, this is actually way more well hidden. If he gets 5 or 6 more drones, okay, this time Dark is paying attention. He's going to pull the workers immediately. These drones, I think he's only going to get 2, maybe 1.
Yeah, he's just, this is that awkward moment where you have the Banes, you're like, well, I mean, what's going to make me happy? All right, let's just go ahead and get what we can. Now, the 3rd hatchery is about to finish, which is not just important for expansions, it's needed for production. Since, larvae obviously matter a lot here in the early game. And we have Elazer getting armor here.
Yeah, that's surprising, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
that, and he's going to get a layer here as well.
I really wonder why he's getting Carapace. Now, obviously, that's going to be good against Zerglings in general. I don't know if he's thinking that Dark will once again play +1 melee. I don't think that's necessarily that good. Obviously, that's a good Baneling connection there. A lot of links going down. I think Elazer... I don't know. I mean, he's actually getting a lot of drones. I don't know where he's going with this. I really wonder why he's not going for missile. I mean, Dark is going for missiles. Maybe he wants to knight us and he thinks that the Carapace can help out there. We'll see.
Give him like some more sustain or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it can help with everything, right? Like all units. But he's making so many drones that I find it very unlikely. Like, who knight us of like 68 drones, right? Like, that just doesn't really seem to be. I think he's worried once again that Dark was going for +1 melee. And +1 Carapace can be very good against it. But that is actually not happening. Now, Elazer is the one dropping a very quick Spire. And his lair was actually a little bit faster than the one of Dark. So, we'll see. I mean, Carapace...
The Spire comes along now. This is the first time we really get to see Elazer going for the Spire. Hold on, these 2 Banes are going to come in. Yeah, there's just enough Queens. When you have 2 at an angle like that, you're probably just not going to get in there and get any drones.
I mean, obviously, if the Lynx get +1 melee, they do actually take 1 extra hit from the Roaches, right? So, like, maybe Elazer is the one. He had a Roach one, I believe, but he's just kind of faking it. And having that Carapace upgrade on the Lynx is going to be very useful. I just didn't really think that Elazer was going to make that many Zerglings, but now it does suddenly make sense, right? Because as long as +1 missile attacks is not done, the Roaches actually have to attack 3 times. And, I mean, that really helps.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can make a building that, would tell most players, okay, this is what he's trying to do, but you instead just make it, and it's like for looks, and it can completely mislead them. Smart move in a tournament match here. Elazer coming down with a lot of links here. Both players trying to keep each other really honest here, trying to slow down fourth bases. Elazer is now retaking his in the top left.
Yeah, I said +1, I obviously mean +2, right? Because with +1, it's always like, it goes from 3 to 2, but then it goes back to 3 hits again. So in that way, it makes sense. I mean, let's see what Elazer can do with the Mutas.
Yeah, as the Mutas come out, that's going to completely change the landscape of this game. And they're literally just about to hatch here.
I love how he's getting Carapace on his Mutalisk as well. I don't think that's going to be really necessary. I think if he knows what Dark is doing, that is the Infestation Pit, Spore Crawlers, there's no Spire by Dark this time. I don't think he needs to go for Carapace. I actually would have preferred a +1 flyer attacks to just fly in there with those Mutas and do that burst damage.
It's like a Muta versus Muta thing, basically, because of the glaives. So, but let's see. Let's see. I mean, the Mutas are now going to come in here. They're beginning to hit this Spore. We have the Queens now departing for Dark and heading over to this location. Because they need to try to get on the perimeter of the base to try to drive them away. So the Mutas will rotate around towards the southernmost location. This is also keeping Dark zoned out of actually taking any bottom base as well. And it's really kind of a game of zoning here between the Queens and the Mutas.
Yep, and Dark is respecting these Mutas a lot, by the way. You look at the amount of Spore Crawlers that have been built, he's like, you know, it's definitely not going to happen to me that I'm going to lose against a bunch of Mutas and don't have enough anti-air like what happened to you on Thunderbird. So I think that Dark is doing that very well, and he's basically just saving up resources. Mutas are very good until Vipers and Infestors come out. Like those kind of units, a Pongo, a Parasitic Bomb just does absolutely insane damage. But hey, this is kind of Elazer's window. This is when he wants to be annoying. Spots at the Infestation Pit, so he kind of knows it's like, alright, if I want to do damage, I better do it right here, right now, because it's only going to get harder.
Okay, he takes out that Extractor and now goes into the main. The Queen scrambling to try to come up here. Note how he's taking this out. There's going to be a lot less gas that can be mined as easily. And wherever the Queens go, that's where the Mutas want to not be. And so they once again rotate down here, taking pot shots everywhere. We have 7 drones killed so far, and now these Lings are to come in here and deny that fourth base hatchery.
Man, Elazer's getting himself in a really good position. He's starting to make a lot of roaches now as well. I mean, there are 5 Vipers on the way. That's going to be big. Elazer, did he show them already? I don't think those have been revealed.
I don't think so. I don't think that those have been spotted yet.
But can he fight with like 35 against 30 roaches? I mean, you take a look at the upgrades.
It's about time to fight with the, what the supplies are like and the combination of units he's got. I don't know if it's going to work. He's going to try to use the Lings. I think there's enough Lings that he can threaten this location and pull more roaches. And then I believe he wants to attack up here from the bottom with his core army. Oh, good snipe there with the Mutas.
Yep, Vipers are very, very expensive units. The Mutas are taking a lot of damage now, though. The roaches will come in from the south side. I don't know if the roach count is high enough. Elazer does not have +1 missiles, but he really wants to get this base. He's settling for the base. He's getting a cancel on that fort as well.
And as you can see, the roaches beginning to arc around. The stronger roaches here from Dark, but Dark able to drive them away. The Lings also hitting those Queens, but again, a victory on that front as well for Dark.
Yeah, I mean, he did lose the fort base, right? So that's one thing. I mean, Dark has +2 missile attacks already. Jeez, I mean, that's big, right? You don't often see +2 against +0. Now, Elazer is getting his second Carapace upgrade for his ground units as well, so that's obviously nice. It's going to be lurkers on both sides. I must say, you got to give kudos to Dark there for surviving, man, because he was down a solid 45-50 supply. The only thing he had was upgrades. All of his units needed to be in the right place, and they were.
I saw that little ragtag Ling army try to come in there and once again deny that hatchery. Did not end up working out. From here, you were just pointing this out, Roddy. The number of workers that Elazer has in this moment is pretty scary, but I do worry about the sheer upgrades that Dark has and is continuing to get.
Yeah, Dark has now 10 more roaches. He also has a couple of Vipers, of course. Blinding Cloud can be very massive. I wonder if this would be a good moment for Dark to fight. I mean, it's very hard for him to figure out where Elazer is at exactly.
Well, I think Elazer's going to try to rely more on counterattacks now. Elazer has more territory, he has more turf, so it's more important for Elazer to have Dark's attention spread over to the right side of the map. Whereas, Elazer wants to try to play economic catch-up here.
The thing is, though, that Elazer has less units because he has way more workers.
Right.
So I'm not sure if multi-pronging is the right thing to do. Elazer sending a lot of these roaches to the right bottom side, but Dark is just going to surround them. And now Elazer really has to worry about it. I'm starting to get very worried here for our Polish Zerg player because his army is simply quite a bit smaller. And there are Vipers in the mix as well. Blinding Clouds can be massive.
Yeah, the Mutas really don't have very much equity anymore in this game. And now we see this army pushing up here. He might be able to isolate Elazer's army away from this hatchery. This is a really mineral. Whoa. Okay, that's one way to do it.
I would have preferred a couple blinding clouds. Now he
it's-
drops one down the right side. I
Yeah.
think that's really smart. The parasitic bombs,
Yeah.
little fancy, but all right.
Is that a diss move? I don't understand. All right, he takes out the hatchery now.
Oh my goodness.
I guess he knew he didn't need to even use that spell there, so he just went ahead and took out that base at the top.
Is he doing it again, Tasteless? I mean, Dark, don't we remember when he was down 40-50 supply and Elazer was richer? Why is Dark the one being maxed out now? He's got money in the bank, he's got better upgrades, and now Elazer is suddenly losing bases.
Okay, as he's beginning to box in Dark's army, it looks like it would be one good thing for Elazer, but on the other side of the map, I think that Dark is just proving that he's overall invested in a better situation.
And I love this. Like, Dark is like, no, you think you're trapping me? No, I'm actually going to pick off a couple of Hydras over there on the left side.
Yeah.
Dark is getting so much value out of all of his stacks, out of all of his little squads of armies. He's winning this fight probably as well against these Hydras. I mean, Dark is playing some absolutely phenomenal Starcraft.
It's funny how Dark has actually flipped this game into a reverse position. It was actually Elazer that had Dark boxed in on 3 bases, and Dark was patient enough to basically defend every attack, then counterattack, and I think we're about to see this game ramp up into yet another attack here from Dark on this lower base. He might also attack the upper left base and try to deny that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting +3 missile attacks. I think he's got his own lurkers now as well. You know, he's actually going to try to make an attack happen here. He doesn't have an overseer, though. He's running into a lurker. If you want to get that base, you better get it real quick. That lurker of Dark is doing a lot of damage.
And now the push is going to continue on here. Now, this is a lot of damage coming here from Elazer. As he actually managed to pull it up, he might be able to deny that hatchery, which in this phase of the game is definitely something, but no, I spoke too soon. Oh, wow. Good defense there by Dark.
No overseers anywhere. Dark is now getting a Nidus network as well. That's very cool. I mean, Nidus networks with lurkers. I think that's some of the coolest stuff that Zerg has to offer in this game. But Elazer definitely got some damage there done. I mean, it didn't even look that impressive, and he was running into a lurker as well. But suddenly, our Polish Zerg is maxed out again. And now Dark actually dropped a little bit of supply here and there. What a way to end this best of 5.
This is a great final game between these two. And this is Elazer, you know, if he can pull this off, really redeeming himself. You know, he had one game where he held up the cheese, he had another one where he did this timing all in, but now this is pretty neck and neck, pretty back and forth, you know.
A tug of war, like you said before. It really has been. Both players have looked great and have looked vulnerable in this game. Dark still has slightly better upgrades, I believe. Yeah, +2 missile attacks is still not even done. And +2 Carapace is about to finish up for Dark as well. Elazer could pound on this base. And I actually think if he just take out this hatchery, he really wants to get the drones as well. Might even get the lurker then. But now he's kind of trapping all of his own units as well, though. And he has no overseer here.
Is this a worthwhile sacrifice? I'm not entirely sure. The hatchery will not go down as Dark's army battering rams its way through here. Meanwhile, Elazer beginning to put a pressure on a very fragile hatchery here adjacent to Dark's main.
Oh, I love that blinding cloud, though. A lot of these Hydras not able to fight. But
Too
the
much?
lurkers will move forward. Dark is losing a lot of drones. We'll end up losing this base as well.
Oh, yep, it's going to go down.
But
It's going to go. Nope, yep. All right, he's going to finally kill it off.
The lurkers have done so much damage there. Now we actually get a
All right.
pause.
Uh-oh.
This is a very interesting moment to get a pause.
The gasp. The collective gasp of our entire audience.
Those lurkers there in those final moments actually did a lot of damage. I mean, we look at that fight on the right bottom side where like Elazer lost an insane amount of units, but he did allow him to get in a great position on the top side of the map. And those lurkers, it really seemed like they did enough there. Dark is in trouble.
I wonder what the pause was about.
He said
Did you see who?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not actually see that on the screen. Okay. Good catch there. So now we wait. We send the ref over, consult the 2 players, and see what happened. But let's just sum up what we saw. We saw a big attack there from Elazer in the bottom right, killed off, I believe it was all the lurkers. Or, I'm sorry, all the workers, not the lurkers. And then we saw an attack up at this base that was adjacent to Dark's main. Now, that's the northernmost base.
Yep.
And he killed the hatchery, and I believe he was bailing with the rest of his army to try to relocate. You know, the way this map works, you begin to spread out further and further. So if you have the offense, you're trying to hit different locations and start to kind of whack-a-mole these bases off a map. And so we saw Dark in a pretty tricky spot.
Yep.
And
now, Dark needs a victory there in the end. Like, he already took a lot of damage. Everything you said, obviously, spot on. But there are still lurkers in position there. Like, I don't know if Elazer can get home with that army or not. But if Elazer can get home with that army, then maybe Dark is still in it.
Okay,
but we'll
so
see how it goes.
I just got notified by production. There was apparently some issue with the monitor. I believe we're going to restore back just slightly. And so we're going to be doing that now. And then we'll continue on. So again, reminder here, we just now, okay, I actually see the game now back on screen. We're going to throw it up on camera in a second. Here it is. So we're right back to where we were. Crisis averted. The game continues on.
Yep, there are a lot of morphing lurkers there for Dark. I mean, Dark just took so much economic damage. He lost 19 drones. He does have that base all the way in the right bottom side, but Elazer was able to get home with all of it. There's a Zergling scouting it immediately.
Yeah, he spotted it. This one lurker's like, I got this. He's going to burrow down here, try to get a few drone kills. And this Nidus is going to finish, but I don't know if it would be worthwhile to commit. We'll see. There's some army coming up here. Not a lot of creep over here, by the way, in Elazer's main. So he's not really able to keep this area that covered.
No detection again for Elazer. There's no overseer here yet.
Oh, you're totally right. Oh, there it is on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, but that's a little bit late, though. Elazer lost a lot of supply there. That was a really good move by Dark. He gets out of it. Sure, he lost a couple of units as well, but he did damage, and he bought time, and that's what Dark needs right now.
Yeah, when you get that Nidus, especially in the main, it forces the entire army, which, by the way, had map control. The entire army for Elazer has to go all the way back to the origin point, the spawn location of Elazer to defend, which gives Dark some more room to breathe, some more room to expand.
I love the left one lurker left behind there. Is going to take care of this Nidus network. There are still Vipers out on the map, I believe, for Dark, but now Elazer is making his own Vipers as well. This is interesting because I don't see a lot of ZVZs of Dark when it really comes down to like lurkers and Vipers. That's something you see quite often in the European scene, where a lot of the Zergs do kind of like the turtle. I don't often see Dark play ZVZs like this.
Yeah, this is very cool. The question, though, is did that play that he did give him the leg up to start to have options? The Nidus is going to be repeatedly used down here, by the way, at the bottom. We may have a setup. And notice how meager this harass is, and it's because he doesn't want to overextend with everything.
Oh, this
so
is good.
Anything he comes in here, if he guns down any workers, it's a win. 4 workers, not bad. It's not the same as what we saw earlier where it was, you know, a third or a half of the army moving in and trying to smash a base. Now we've got that hatchery that was picked off just as we had resumed the game. It's been reclaimed. And the bottom right should have a healthy amount of drones mining from it.
Yep, Dark still has 5 more lurkers. I think it's going to be very hard for Elazer to end the game when Dark has so many more lurkers than he does. So it seems like this game has kind of stabilized. I'm very happy about that, right? Because we don't want to see a game ever end right after a pause. I think Dark was on the ropes, but these Nidus Networks attacks have definitely bought him time. They may not seem successful, but Dark needed some time. Dark needed to catch up, and that is exactly what he's doing.
And so this has really gotten Elazer off of his back. And now Elazer is going to look for a few more options here. Now, upgrade-wise, I think this is looking a little bit better for Dark as far as what the armies are, what they're fighting with.
Yeah, well, actually, Elazer is getting +3 Carapace, and Dark didn't have the money to start that yet. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I actually swapped the IDs at the bottom. You're totally right. So this is actually not bad at all. I know these Niduses might seem silly as they're getting shut down. This almost is required of Dark to keep Elazer very, very honest about his movement on the map.
Yep, no, Dark needed to play catch-up. We said it, he was down in bases, he was down in workers, he was down in army. He was down in every single most important aspect of Starcraft 2, so he needed to buy time, and that's definitely what that first Nidus network attack did. The other ones, they may seem underwhelming. It seems like Elazer had enough of it, though. He's going to try, but don't forget there is a lot of lurkers on the side.
Oh, great harpooning here, pulling out some of those stray units, but it doesn't appear that Dark is willing to give up this location so easily. And so the game plan here is to yank the opponent's lurkers into your army and try to do damage. Now again, map control to Elazer. I don't believe we have a Nidus being made on the map, or at least I can't see one on the mini-map.
Elazer actually did that very well, right? He was able to pick up a couple of these Vipers. Dark does have a very good counter-attack here, though. I love how he's dropping some changelings as well, just in case his army wants to run away. So even though Elazer was doing some really good work there on the top side of the map, he just lost a lot of units on the south side. Dark refuses to give up, still fighting to hang in there.
Yeah, this northern base here for Dark is a real point of contention. And so Dark's being very careful to not give this up.
Yeah, Dark lost all of his Vipers, right, in that little exchange we saw, but now he bought some time with that hit squad he had on the south side to get once again 5 Vipers out. And the Vipers are incredibly important. Blinding Cloud is great, but obviously Abduct against Lurkers, that can really breach certain positions that otherwise would be unbreakable. Dark has to be very careful here, of course, because of the Lurkers there. It all comes down to the Viper control. And it's funny because Elazer also doesn't really strike me as the one European Zerg that I see with this army comp all the time. I feel like these are two guys that excel in early game and mid game, and now they're forced to play late game.
Yeah, the final battle in a pretty insanely epic late game here. There's that Nidus again. And this is all paired with the army. By the way, he has no intention of really using that Nidus that much at all. He's actually trying to come here and press towards the center base location. But it seems like so far Elazer's reacting pretty nicely. Whoa!
I mean, there's a lot of Vipers being abducted on either side. I mean, Dark lost a couple of... Dark actually lost 5 out of 6 there.
I think Dark is actually... Hold on. Dark's going to try to get this really good position over here. Good harpooning there on those lurkers. That should allow Elazer to kind of come down here and engulf a lot of this army in a pretty nice angle, forcing Dark back.
Yeah, I actually think that was a really good fight for Elazer. I mean, he's down a little bit in supply, but he picked up a lot of very expensive units. Meanwhile, Dark is rebuilding on Roaches, but Roaches alone are going to have a very hard time winning games against Lurkers.
Yeah, once again, Nidus, a continuous nuisance. And the thing is, you don't know if there's an army ready to go through that Nidus or not, right? I mean, you could try to kind of half-ass defend it, and then suddenly everything bursts out and does a lot of damage. Now, as far as growth on the map goes, Elazer's been slightly ahead. We're getting to the point where they're expanding in positions that make them neighbors.
Yeah.
So this is going to make it much more difficult. You know, ZDZ is so much about trying to hit different locations on the map and punish them. And when you're in half map situations, the tactics can get pretty crazy.
Yep, Dark is once again going to try to get some economic damage done over here. He picked up 8, 9, maybe even more than 10 drones here. That's quite solid already. What is Elazer doing? We see a big blip on the minimap on the south side. I don't know if he's going to look for an opening there or not. But I really like this. The longer this goes on, the more fair it becomes, the higher the lurker count becomes. And I want to see, like, is this going to be it? Or are we going to ever see some other units? What about maybe some infested? Whoa, that's good.
Whoa!
Whoa, those abducts are massive. That's 3 Vipers going down on the side of Dark. Now a couple lurkers go down. Elazer just got a phenomenal trade there.
Yeah, beautifully done here. Dark once again loses a critical position on the map. Tactically, Elazer is just having better engagements here. And look, he's even going to try to come in here a little bit further, start to punish more. Now, he's got to be careful because there's plenty more lurkers here from Dark. You do not want to overextend, excuse me, here in Elazer's position, but I'm actually starting to think that with Dark's supply overall thinning out, maybe he can do this. I mean, with the Vipers, you just continue to yank, but just like that, pull the lurkers out of their potholes and pick them off and then advance and get a better position.
Yeah, Elazer is down a little bit in economy though, so he's going to really try to make something happen. But you're spot on. When it came to the Viper fights, Elazer did way better than Dark for quite some time. Elazer still has slightly more lurkers. Now just in the end, he finally lost his Vipers for the very first time, because I don't think he expected Dark to have some there. There's only a single lurker here, so I think that Elazer is going to try to make something happen here. What a game, what a series. You know what, they made fun of you, Nick. You were excited for it. This series delivered,
That's
okay?
Right, I'm looking at Maynard and Artosis right now. They feel very bad for laughing at me being excited for this match. No, look, the attack's continuing to come forward, and if Dark breaks on either of these fronts, he could be toasted. We have actually a Nidus right in the middle of the map. Look at that. Trying just about everything. That's going to get denied. Now, Dark has actually slipped the base over here at the 12 o'clock spot.
I mean, Elazer's army is way bigger, and or way stronger, rather, is what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit bigger, but it's definitely way stronger. He's got the more expensive units, and he's got more Hydras and Roaches as well. Dark is working with a very basic army composition. You would almost say that this is maybe impossible to win for Dark, but obviously he's the reigning GSL champion, so nothing is impossible for him, but he's going to need a magnificent fight, or he's going to have to force out a big error out of Elazer.
Loses here. What does this mean?
I don't know what it means.
Esports postmodernism, man. I didn't think Dark was going to die. Oh my God, here we go. He's pulling forward on the Vipers. Great engagement here. Once again, Elazer forced to back up a little bit. But he does not have a lot to work with. That hatchery actually canceled.
One more Viper there in the end, got abducted, and that means that Dark is going to end up losing a few more of these expensive lurkers.
It seems like Elazer has the initiative. The captain of Team Korea on the ropes right now, but it looks like he's actually broken free. Elazer's backing up, respecting the army as it pushes out. And it looks like Dark's going to try to contest this center base.
You ask me what it means, Faceless. I think what it means is that those 12,000 people that voted for Elazer were all right, okay? They were onto something. They knew that he could potentially do it. Dark is going to end up losing a few more Roaches here.
He's taking such a beating here.
Lurker fight?
Yeah, there's a... I'm sorry. Okay, there's one lurker fighting a lurker, another lurker fighting a hatchery there. And so he's going to be okay. Dark is in the bottom right for now. Although, frankly, that is not like a mineral-rich location anymore. It's really almost more just about Dark's upper right base.
You know, it's crazy actually because Dark has 26 Hydras as well, but Elazer's got 35, but then on top of that, Dark has 37 Roaches, and that makes you wonder, where did all the supply of Elazer go? Well, he's still got Lurkers, okay? He's got a lot of Lurkers, 9 more, and he's got 5 more Vipers as well. I mean, if Elazer doesn't mess up, he is supposed to win these fights. His army is better, Tasteless.
The question is, can he actually get the closer? He's coming in now, again, just trying to pick off anything he can get. The income here for Dark is not exactly that crazy. I mean, Elazer definitely has more money to play with this game, which means Dark really cannot afford to make any mistakes.
I don't think that Dark can fight us anymore, man. That's too many Lurkers and it's too many Vipers. So Dark is going to try to use the mobility of his army, and that's maybe one way to still outplay Elazer and come back into this game. But your GSL champion is absolutely in some trouble. Yes, he is maxed out, but he is working with an inferior army.
Okay. The army is coming up now. Dark, it's pretty do or die here. He's in the center of the map. The Hydras are coming forward. We have some of the Hydras branching off into the main. Can Dark create enough chaos here? He's going to try to go for the, well, he was going for the hive for a second there, but Elazer seems to want to fight back, taking out that Nidus in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, also taking out the rest of Dark's Roaches in the main.
Dark is in so much trouble, man. He's out of gas. He really doesn't have anything to work with. He's still down 6 Lurkers. He's down 2 Vipers. I don't know how he's supposed to win a fight here against Elazer.
I don't know what else to say, but I think that Elazer is going to come in here and possibly end this. I mean, Dark is too broke.
Really good save there on this one Lurker. Every Lurker is obviously super important here. One more Viper gets abducted, and that's really what has made the difference here for Elazer. Elazer simply did better when it came to Viper against Viper. He was always able to get the big abducts up, and Dark just struggled with it quite a bit. Blinding Clouds being casted now on both sides.
You see that the real source of income now for Dark is gone, and that's why Elazer is trying to come in here swinging, because he knows that Elazer knows he has more money to play with, he has more opportunities to try to end this. And so every unit for Dark is becoming more and more precious.
Yeah, the funny thing is though, ZVZ is so brutal, right? And like 3 Lurkers can really turn a battle upside down. Even though it's not supposed to happen, there's still hope here for Dark. Can he snipe one of these Lurkers? He's close, but nope.
Apparently not. The drones are going to come down here. Now he needs to get this base up. This is the only hope here for Dark, is if he can actually get this location up. Oh, good corner here, though. Dark coming in and slamming this army into the wall.
Yeah, that's big. That's one of these Lurkers as well. Ducks the other one, a Blinding Cloud. I mean, that was the best fight that Dark was ever going to get, but he still ended up losing the base, and he ended up losing 3 out of his 5 Lurkers, while Elazer still has 10 of them.
Okay, Dark coming in now for a fight. Supplies are fairly even, but we're at a spawn location here for Elazer engulfing this army, Dark having to back up. Again, Dark with no base for the time being that he can realistically mine from. And as you see now, Dark's army supply is beginning to thin out. Elazer's beginning to push back, and I think Elazer can flatten this final location. GG in our first best of 5, and possibly many upsets to come. Elazer has defeated Dark, the star figure here for Korea in GSL versus the world. Dark, a player who was confident that he would easily be able to defeat non-Koreans throughout most of his career, showing a little bit more respect this time, is actually taken by Elazer in a 3-2 victory.